All right, guys, today we're going to work on the proportional relationships and percent power focus area. Our goal is that you'll get an 8 out of 10 at least, if not a 10 out of 10 on that focus area at the end of this. Remember, these notes can be used to help you with that content assessment. So first, let's start with some vocabulary. So let's talk about unit rate. Remember that unit rate is the amount of something when an item is at a one value. So often we talk about this as being like the price per one, or the words per one, or something per minute, something per hour. That's the unit rate. That's at the base value when we're measuring by ones. How much is it? Okay. Now let's talk about a proportional relationship. A proportional relationship is something that increases by an equivalent ratio each time, or something that increases by the same amount each time, or decreases. That changes, increases, or decreases by an equivalent ratio amount each time. So if we're going up, it's going to go up by the same amount each time. If we're going down, it's going to go down by the same amount each time. To be considered completely proportional, it has to go through zero. All right, so let's talk about constant proportionality. The constant proportionality is the amount it's increasing or decreasing each time. It is the same thing as the unit rate. Okay, it's just what we call the unit rate when we're looking at a proportional relationship. Okay, so constant and proportionality are the same thing. It's just, and unit rate are the same thing. It's just constant and proportionality is the unit rate for any proportional relationships. So let's try some practice problems. We got 8 practice problems today. So let's go ahead and go do them. So the first one says Vanessa earned $76 in 8 hours. How much did she earn in 1 hour? So we've got to figure out the basic unit rate for it. So we can either set up the ratio, or we can just divide it to find 1, because we know that if we took this and put this into a fraction, we could reduce it to 1 to find out what the equivalent amount is. So I'm going to do 76 divided by 8. I'm setting up that ratio. Now I'm going to reduce it until I can get to 1. Okay, and that's, to do that, I'm going to divide by 8. Okay, 8 goes into 7 0 times, but 8 goes into 76 9 times. Okay, 9 times 8 is 72. It's going to give me 4 left over. Now I'm going to put a decimal in. I'm going to bring my 0 down. 8 goes into 40 5 times, and that's 40. So the answer is, it's $9.50. So she earns $9.50 an hour. If you didn't want to set it up as a ratio, in this sense, the other way you could have done it is you could have said she made $76 in 8 hours. How much money did she make in 1 hour? You could have cross multiplied and done 8x equals 76 times 1, which is 76, and then divided by 8. Okay, either way would have worked, but your answer is $9.50. Let's go over to problem number 2 now. It says, what does the point 1r represent on the graph? So right here we see 1r on our graph. If we wanted to zoom in, hold on, I can show you a little bit better. Okay, so 1, if we look at our scale, means number of people, right? And R represents what? It says right here, pounds of meat. So it means how much meat, how many pounds of meat for one person. And if we wanted to calculate that, we could do that. I'm going to zoom back out by taking 6, we can see that 2 pounds of meat is, or sorry, 2 people is 6 pounds of meat. So then let's zoom out and we can calculate that to figure out what the number would be. But it's how many pounds of meat for one person. So now let's calculate it. So that's 6 over 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So it's 3 pounds of meat for one person. So that's 3 pounds. All right, let's move on to my next question. Okay, number 3 says the graph shows the number of tacos ordered and the cost. What is the unit rate? So remember, our unit rate is going to be our base amount, how much is going up each time. So if I look here, 1 doesn't quite give me a clear amount. Okay, so I'm going to go from 2. I can get 2 tacos for $1. Well, if I can get 2 for $1, so that's 2 over 1. Well, 2 for $1 is 50 cents. 2 over is going to equal out to be 50 cents for a taco. Okay, you guys should know 2 for 1 is 1 over 2. If I divided that out, it gets me 50 cents. Okay. Number 4 says Zoe can tile 1 1/4 square yards in 1/3 an hour. What is her unit rate? So let's do that. 1 1/4 is how much she can tile in 1/3 of an hour. So we know her unit rate, so that's how many tiles can she do in an hour? So then we're going to say x over 1. Okay? I'm going to do 1/3 times x is 1/3 x equals 1 times 1 1/4. Center of my equation is my equal sign. I'm then going to get rid of 1/3. Remember that 1/3 is the same thing as dividing by 3. So to get rid of it, I have to do the reciprocal, which is multiply by 3 on each side. That's going to cross out. I can't multiply this by 3 the way it is right now, so I'm going to convert it. 1 times 4 is 4, plus 1 is 5 over 4 times 3. You know that's what x equals. I still can't multiply it until I put 3 over 1. Now I can multiply across. 5 times 3 is 15. 4 times 1 is 4. So x is equal to 15 over 4. Well, 4 goes into 15 3 times with 3 left over. So that's 3 3/4 square yards in an hour. So moving on to our next problem. Chaz rides 1/3 mile every 1/6 of an hour. How far does he ride in 1 hour? Okay, so we're going to set it up the same basic style. Okay, we're going to do 1/3 over 1/6. Okay, because that's how many he rides 1/3 a mile in 1/6 an hour. Now we're going to find out how many miles he rides in 1 hour. So now I'm going to multiply across. So that's going to give me 1 over 6x equals 1/3 times 1 is 1/3. So now center of my equation is the equal sign. I got to get rid of 1/6. Remember 1/6 is the same thing as dividing by 6. The opposite of dividing by 6 is multiplying by 6. So I'm going to multiply that reciprocal and multiply by 6 on each side. To multiply these two together, I have to put 6 over 1, and I'm going to cross reduce. 1 times 2 is 2, and 1 times 1 is 1, so it's 2 over 1, or 2 miles in 1 hour. Okay, going on to the next one. A blueprint of the barn is shown, and it looks like it kind of got put on the next page for us. So that's 20 over 25. 5 inches is equal to 8 feet. Find the actual length of the wall that is labeled 25 inches. Okay, so if we know that 5 inches is 8 feet, this is 25 inches, so we got to set that up. Okay, so 5 inches is 8 feet equals 25 inches for our wall and x feet. We don't know how many feet it is. So now I'm going to multiply across. 5 times x is 5x equals, then I'm going to do 8 times 25. If you don't know that off the top of your head, that's okay. We can multiply it here. 5 times 8 is 40. Carry the 4, bring that down. 2 times 8, we're going to give a 0, is 16. That's 0, 10, 200, okay? 8 times 25 is 200, so it's 5x equals 200. Center of my equation is the equal sign. I'm going to divide by 5 to get x by itself. X is equal to 200 divided by 5. So now I'm going to do 200 divided by 5. 5 goes into 20 4 times. So my answer is 40. So it's 40 feet long. All right, let's move on to my last two problems. Kirk finds a dog leash with a price tag of $24 at the pet store. The leash is 10% off the original price. He must pay 6% sales tax. What is the total cost of the leash? So let's first find out what the price is with 10% off, and then we'll go to the sales tax. So since it's 10% off, that means minus 10%. So I have to do 100 minus 10, which is going to give me 90. Okay, so it's 90% is what he's paying. So I've got 24 as my total. Sorry, I need to erase that. I wrote that backwards. So remember that is 90%. So I'm going to do 20. Oops, sorry. I'm going to do x because I don't know what he's paying over 24 equals 90 over 100. Okay, so now I'm going to multiply 90 times 24 and 100 times x. Okay, so 100x equals 90 times 24. So let's do that now. Okay, I'm going to bring my 0 down. 9 times 4 is going to give me 36. Carry the 3. 9 times 2 is 18. Plus 3 is 21. So that's 2,160. Now we're going to divide by 100 on both sides. Remember that dividing by 100 is the same thing as moving the decimal place 2 places to the left. So x is equal to 2160. So now the price is 2160, but he has to pay the sales tax, which is 6%. So now let's find out how much he's going to pay in sales tax. Then we'll add the two together. So what I'm going to do is I'm now going to set up my new ratio, and I'm going to do x over 2160 equals 6.06, because 6% is 0.06 over 100. So now I'm going to multiply 0.06 and 2160 together, and x and 100 together. So that gives me 100x equals, and then 2160 times 0.06. So I'm actually going to just do this over here since I already have this kind of set up here. 6 times 0 is 0. 6 times 6 is 36. Carry the 3. 6 times 1 is 6 plus 3 is 9. 6 times 3 is 18. I have 4 decimals, so I have to put 4 decimals in here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Since it's money, I'm going to round up. And since that is a 9 here, and this is a 6, I'm going to round up. That would make this a 0 and this up to a 9. So it's going to be $1.90 in sales tax. So now I'm going to add 2160 plus $1.90 to find out how much I pay. So 2160 plus 190. That's 0 plus 0 is 0. 6 plus 9 is going to give me 15. Carry the 1. 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3. So it's $23.50 is going to be the total cost of his dog leash. Okay, moving on to my last one. It says the price of a coat increased from $78 to $92. What is the percent increase? So to find this, what we're going to do is we got to find out the percent change. So I'm going to do 92 minus 78 all over 100 to find out my percent change. Okay, so first let's do 92 minus 78. Okay, 2 can't subtract 8, so I'm going to borrow and make that an 8. 12 minus 8 is 4. 8 minus 7 is 1. So that's 14 over 100. If I were to turn that into a decimal, all I do is move my place over. So it's 0.14 or 14% is the difference. Since it's an increase, it's got to be 114%. We're going to have to add it to 100. 100 plus 14 is 114%. So it's 114% is the difference, or a 14% increase. All right, now that you've completed this, you can go take the proportional relationships and percentage or focus area. Use these notes to help you. Have a good day, guys.